Good morning and welcome back eventually to My Life's Toil with me, Neil. Thank you for joining me. I'm back now. It's the weekend. It is Saturday, the 26th of July. I missed Wednesday, so apologies for the update. There was no issues. I did mean to put a post out, but I'm very sorry that I missed it. And a few people have contacted me to see if everything was okay, which it was. And I can understand with what's been going on recently with Dan, people were concerned that something had happened. Dan's fine. Everything's okay. I've just been absolutely inundated. Bad planning on my part. I just ran out of time. I did start putting things together, but it would have been absolutely horrendous if I put it out and not worth much to anyone. So there's lots of catching up to do today. We're going to discuss the weight targets. We're going to do the jab later on in the video. Just look at my notes here because I can't remember a thing these days. And we're going to, I'm just wanting to mention the Supriva competition as well. We've got all the entries in together, and over the weekend I'm going to collate all that information and we will choose someone who's going to win the pot of the Supriva flavor powder. So that's something to look forward to. And also on that, it's been a really good response to the competition. So we will be running a little bit more because I want to give something back to the people that have been given to the channel. So many people involved and there's so much support and really good feeling on the channel. And we all look out for each other. So it's something I really want to keep going. So I think there's things that I've been asked and to sort of review things before, which I haven't really done. And I was thinking, because like people want to give you things to review, and there's something coming up that I'm going to do, but I'm only going to do it if I think it's going to be beneficial to us, really. Now, with the Supriva, I use Supriva right from the start, and that's why, and that's how we got together. But I wouldn't put it out there if I didn't think it was something that was good. So it's only Supriva that I've done, and I think Supriva is lovely. And as always, if you want to try it, there's a link, and I'll put it in the descriptions. There's basically it's a really low calorie flavor powder that turns so many things into something really tasty, and that's how I got around it. Like I use it in plain yogurt, and I do my overnight oats and things like that, and even things like milkshake. So it's something that is really nice, and I'll put the link to give you a little discount there. But we will have a competition winner that will get to try Supriva for absolutely nothing at all as well. And it's something that we will keep going. So that's something to look forward to in the future. And also, during today's video, had a lot of people contacting me. They've had loads of comments as usual, which is always good. I think I've got round most of them. Because of how busy it's been, I've just been sort of dipping in and out of them. And I think I'm up to date as of recording this on Saturday early morning. Keep the comments coming. I will do further videos with questions and that, but this week, some of the comments are more progress pictures, which we touched upon last week. We showed a few last week, didn't we? And there's a lot of people that want to share their progress as well, which I think is absolutely brilliant for all of us, because it shows what we can achieve when we put our minds to it, and with the help of this Mounjaro journey that we're on. So we'll be going through a few of them today as well. So thank you for the people that have sent in their pictures and their stories, which has been really positive, and these are going to be really helpful to those people that may be struggling, maybe just need that boost and that bit of positivity moving forward as well. But on the spin side of that, there is a little story that I wanted to share from someone that contacted me on Messenger actually this week. And it's not to put anybody off, by no means, about trying Mounjaro or looking at weight loss injections to help them with their weight loss and their progress and losing weight and getting healthy and fit. But it is just to remind people that there are real risks about taking this. And it's just to remind us that we need to be mindful. And I've always said, listen to our bodies when we think there may be an issue. And it's just to show that if we are having some sort of issues, it's just to get ourselves checked and just keep our finger on the pulse, really. So we'll get to that very shortly as well. But moving on from last week, and I won't do it just yet, but the weight update will be a little bit later on as well, because of getting so close to that second milestone, which for me was 16 stone, which is about 103 kilos, isn't it? So we'll be doing that very shortly. But let's start actually with the story that came in from Denise this week. Thank you for your videos, which are informative and so helpful. Thank you, Denise, for that. And well done on your journey. Thank you. I wanted to tell you about my experience in case it might help someone else. I commenced on 2.5 Mounjaro on February 27th, which is actually the day after me, isn't it? I used 1 pen of 2.5 and then went on to 5 milligrams. During this time, I lost weight at 1 or 2 pounds per week, which is healthy. My starting weight being 15 stone, 8 pounds, being 5'2" and 66 years of age, my symptoms during this time were heartburn, and I really struggled with constipation. I dealt with this with the use of mild laxatives. After a while, I began to get food noise and decided that it was time to perhaps start 7.5 milligrams. I had been making lifestyle changes, swimming 3-4 times a week, doing aqua aerobics and gentle keep fit. All sounds really sensible stuff so far, Denise. I was not drinking alcohol and logging my food intake on the NutriCheck app. Now, this sounds just very similar to what I've been doing. So this rings quite, a few alarm bells. And it's not to, like I say, it's not to scare people, but it's just to make people aware as we read through this. I took the new 7.5 injection on the 10th of July and expected that for the next 2 days at least, I would feel quite dreadful and have a bad stomach, as I did when I went up to 5 milligrams. Over the next 2 to 3 days, I felt really bad with stomach ache in particular and was expecting this. I used painkillers to mask the pain. The pain, however, did not go away. I was eventually required to phone 111, which over here is like an NHS, usually, and it used to be an out-of-hours service where you could ask for medical advice and you would get signposted to who you needed to speak to over the telephone, and appointments could be made or even ambulances sent if need be. And as a result of that, I was taken to hospital by ambulance. It was discovered that I had a perforated appendix that had gone gangrene, so an infected appendix. A subsequent appendectomy was carried out where the appendix was obviously removed. That due to me suffering from constipation while taking Mounjaro, I asked the surgeon if the two could be connected. I also asked if I should stop taking the medication altogether. The surgeon informed me that he would make no comments about Mounjaro. This was a separate issue to the appendicitis, and I should speak to my GP. I am actually prescribed via MedExpress. I have since looked at various theories and seen that there is a correlation between appendicitis and the use of Mounjaro due to the slowdown of digestion and the increased risk of the gathering of waste in the appendix. Prior to going to hospital, I had lost 2 stones, 8 pounds in weight, a substantial amount of weight. I still have a way to go and will need to decide which way forward. I just think it's important for people to continue to be mindful of the potential serious side effects of the drug. I was disappointed that no one at the hospital was willing to discuss any connection between Mounjaro and appendicitis. No advice given. I'm now back at home. Recovery has been a painful experience. I'm not doubting the benefits of Mounjaro, neither do I suggest that anyone who has constipation will end up in my situation. However, it is easy to become used to adverse symptoms, expect them and tolerate them, and people need to be mindful of this. And she wanted, as she said there, just to raise the awareness. Now, in my job as an acute primary care paramedic, I see a lot of people on Mounjaro, and I see a lot of people have nasty side effects. And I've seen people that have the worst side of things I've seen is pancreatitis. Now, I spoke to someone only within the last couple of weeks, and they said that that's not as prevalent as people think it is. It actually is. If there's going to be some nasty side effects, it's usually pancreatitis that I've seen. I've read lots of discharge letters regarding pancreatitis in relation to Mounjaro, and it's usually right up the higher doses. And it's usually people that have gone straight the way through as the guidelines tell us to use it. This isn't clinically proven, but from what I've read and just the information that I've been privy to, the slower people tend to go, the less risk of nasty side effects. I've not seen any appendicitis as a result of Mounjaro, but that doesn't mean it's not out there, and that doesn't mean it's not happening. And this is obviously, from Denise, a real case of something nasty that's happened. And it's just to remind us really to listen to our bodies. On the whole, people I speak to at work and patients that come in, and it's not always patients that come into, patients wouldn't come to speak to me at the doctor's surgery to speak about Mounjaro. It'd be something else, and they would discuss that they happen to be on Mounjaro, which I am seeing a lot more of recently. But like I say, the nasty side effects are less so, but they are there. And this is just to, as I say, listen to your bodies. I spoke to someone I was in conversation through the Messenger app on Facebook, and they'd been having some sort of pains and things like that. And it was ongoing and gradually worsening. And that's not for us to deal with. That's not for us to just suck it up and take a few paracetamol or ibuprofen. No, if you're having ongoing issues with Mounjaro, even constipation, if you're taking something to try and counter these problems and they're still there, speak to your doctor. And if you're not getting anywhere, speak to another doctor, because you're entitled to advice and treatment. And if someone doesn't know, because unfortunately, Mounjaro still is quite early. It's still quite an infant drug, really. We're still finding out things about it. And not everybody knows everything about it. We probably know a lot more than a lot of medical professionals out there, or equally as much. There are some medical professionals that are really specialising in this type of medication because it's absolutely flavour of the month at the moment, isn't it? And good medical professionals will want to know as much as possible about everything, but especially with GPs, they are general. And much as they are brilliant and really learned people and excellent in their fields, they might not know everything. So it is important to seek good advice where you can. And I can understand why the surgeon might not have been able to give advice about Mounjaro, because he may not have known, and what limited advice he could give might not have been useful to Denise. So sometimes it's better to probably signpost you to someone that can speak more about it. The first people that really, if we are having a problem, is the people prescribing it to us that should know everything about this medication. But unfortunately, as we all know, the people that are buying their medication, it's more about that finance side of things, isn't it? So there is that issue as well. And I'll always help where I can, but I will only usually just point people in the right direction to get good advice as well. And isn't it horrible to think that most of our advice probably comes from Facebook or YouTube, really? But on the other spin of that, it's probably a good thing that the advice is out there that we can get hold of quite quickly. The only problem is, and this is true in medical fields anyway, that advice differs. When you speak to one doctor, he may have a different opinion of Mounjaro to another doctor, and that is literally their medical opinion. Yes, there will be written research and documentation of how trials have gone and things like that, but that's also open to interpretation as well, so that may differ. So in a nutshell, just be cautious when we're doing this, but at the same time, don't let it frighten you off if it's working well for you. Just listen to your bodies. Let's get on to some positives now, because I'm going to go through some of the pictures and little comments that have come to the channel this week of people that are showing us their progress pictures, starting with John here. Now, this is John before and after that he sent through to me earlier this week. And he says, I'm a couple of weeks behind you in my journey. Started on March the 18th, 2025, and weighed in at 135 kilos or 297 pounds. On my Friday weigh-in on the 18th of July, I weighed in at 100.8 kilos or 222 pounds. Total loss of 34.2 kilograms or just over 75 pounds, which is excellent. Delighted with the results, but had to work at it extremely hard and battled through nausea, constipation and fatigue. Some days it was a struggle to get up and go outside to exercise, but I'm so pleased that I persevered. John says he lives in Gibraltar and had to do it through a private doctor, which meant it turned out to be expensive. He's currently on 7.5 milligrams once a week and doesn't particularly want to go any higher, which I think is quite sensible, judging on what we've just been talking about. Other wins have been, listen to this, the doctor has taken him off his blood pressure medication and clothes shopping has become a pleasure, not a chore. So that is absolutely superb. And I said this at the time, it makes you look younger, you look well, and well done, well done. So this is Jenny, who wrote in last week and sent these through to me, and she wanted to share this picture of before and current. She's not yet at her goal, but as you can see, she's also doing absolutely superbly. She started on Mounjaro on the 17th of January and has lost 25 kilos as of last Friday. She's got around 10 kilos to go now, and she's on a non-standard dose of 3.75 milligrams since 7 weeks back. She took 2.5 milligrams for 19 weeks before that, so all this was done on a low dose. She took one dose of 5 milligrams, but didn't feel any difference between that and 3.75 milligrams. So she decided to go down again to save some money. Sensible. And if it works, brilliant. I've done all this in close supervision by the dietitian, and she feels great. Started at 110 kilos and now weighs 85 kilos. Well done, Jenny. Absolutely superb. And again, thank you for sharing. Now, for people that comment, you may have noticed one of the regular commenters, Nuggy, this gentleman here. And there's a couple of pictures to go through with Nuggy, as we can see. His real name's Alex, and he wrote to me this week. He wanted to send some pictures of his progress. He's been on Mounjaro for about 4 or 5 months and down 4 stone from 19. So even my brain can work out the maths on that. So he's about 15 stone. Is that right? Nuggy, excellent progress. So well done on this, matey. And thank you for sharing those pictures. Excellent. And then last but certainly not least, we have this from Dan, who also comments regularly on the channel. If we have a look at this, he's put that he was having problems sending these to me, but I'm glad he sorted it out because I love to see the progress. First requested Mounjaro injection 20th of Feb, but did my first jab on the 26th of Feb, exactly the same as me. And the latest photo on here is from the 16th of July. The progression ones are from the start with the monthly intervals. These pictures are on this long photo here, and look at the transformation here. 25 stone 5 pounds on the first jab. He was 25 stone 8 pounds 2 weeks prior to that, which was the heaviest that he'd ever been, and the reason why he started his Mounjaro journey, to 5 months later at 18 stone 11 pounds 94 pound loss. So far, the losses so far, and another 6-ish stone to go. So Dan's asked me to just blur the face out for him, which I have done for him. But thank you for that. That is absolutely spot on. And keep going, everybody. Now, if we can't use these pictures and these little stories to give us a boost after that little sort of warning story, then nothing else will help us, will it? Because this is exactly what keeps me going. You out there keep me going. Hopefully what I do on here with sharing my journey keeps you going as well. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Right, let's get on to what most people will be here for. And that's to talk about what my update is on the weight. If you watched last week, I was 225 pounds, which is about 103, 104 kilos. I noticed on the video last week I put the wrong weight in. I put what I dropped, but hey ho. Which was 16 stone, 1 pound, meaning I was 1 pound away from my second milestone target, if you like. So this week I am 223 pounds, which is 101.2 kilograms, 15 stone, 13 pounds. So that's another 3 pounds off from last week. And I have beat my second milestone, which was 16 stone. I am, and I said I would be, in the 15 stone bracket, which I am. I've got to start using a different word to chuffed because I've really worn the word chuffed out. So what word should I come up with? Very pleased, 2 words. I am absolutely over the moon at reaching that. But this means I need to set up a new target. And there's a lot of people, especially at work, they're saying, oh, you don't need to lose anymore. And I'm like, well, actually I do, because now I've discussed this before with people about, this BMI business, whereas some people think that it's, well, not realistic and it's a bit antiquated. And I mean, I feel really good. I'm getting there, but I still have a lot of body fat, especially the visceral fat around my gut. There's still plenty of it. So I know that there is a way to go. Now, I can't necessarily control. I know my face has lost a lot of weight, my neck and certain parts, my arms have gone skinnier and things like that. And we can't always target where we want the weight to drop from. But we can keep working out, which I have done. Didn't do it Wednesday because I was so busy. But I tell you what I did do. Although I finished work late on Thursday, I was late getting back, I still went out on the deck and I did a good workout because I'd missed Wednesday because of how busy Wednesday ended up being. And it just felt good. So it's, again, about getting back up and getting back into it, isn't it? Because I've got to be honest with you, when I got to the end of Wednesday, just thinking, and I was thinking about the channels, thinking about you guys, and people were messaging me asking if things were okay, which is lovely, but you feel like you let people down. So I am so sorry that I missed Wednesday, and I will try and at least put something out, or at least a post just letting you know what's going on, because it's the right thing to do, isn't it? But it is about just stepping back on again. And there's been lots of little hiccups. We have like peaks and troughs and things like that. But as I was saying, the BMI thing is, and I've written a few little words down here because my BMI is still overweight and it's not even close to being in a healthy range. According to the different formulas that are available that we use over here in the UK, and I think some of these are used around the world, my healthy weight range is, let me read this out for you, 82.4 kilos to 91.2, although a healthy BMI range for me would be 93.1 kilos, which would be 14 stone, 9 pounds, which is still another just over stone off, a stone, 4 pounds off. So that in pounds, a healthy weight in pounds for me would be 205 pounds, which means losing almost 20 pounds more, which I don't disagree with, but it gives me a new target, doesn't it? So I'm going to go for that as my target. So my target now, third milestone, will be the last one. hopefully can do it. I've not put a time on it, but knowing that at some point soon I will be reviewing my Mounjaro, because that's what's going to happen. I'm rapidly on 6 months now, so that's going to be interesting when it comes to that. So new target, 93.1 kilos, which is 14 stone 9 pounds. 14 stone 9 pounds, that's right, 205 pounds exactly. What else do we need to talk about this week? I'll tell you what we need to talk about this week. And with what Denise's story was at the start, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. Well, if you're interested in this type of thing, that is. My suppression has dipped a little bit this week. So I jabbed, normally it was on the go jab. I did it, and I didn't record it, obviously. I just did it. And Wednesday felt all right. Thursday, I had a few hunger pangs going on, I noticed. And although I stuck to plan, I was using willpower again. This was the day after the jab, which is unheard of for me. And I was thinking, that doesn't seem to have worked very well. And I was actually having more food noise than I've had in a long, long time. And yesterday, which was Friday, got to Friday evening yesterday, did well all day during the day at work, ate healthy. I was having fruit. I'd had some oats with the Supriva powder in the vanilla one on the morning for breakfast, which is unusual on the weekday because normally I tend to skip breakfast. Although I do always have a little drink, a little 100 mils of that kefir, which is like a Yakult type drink, like a yogurty drink, which everything's caloried. I've been counting all my calories on the NutriCheck app recently. But last night, I was really hungry. I'd eaten healthy. We had a quiche, which was counted with a big mixed salad, a little bit of garlic bread, which again was counted. No puddings or anything like that, but I really had a sweet tooth last night. And this has been sort of, even, I think, which I expect before the jabs, even though I'm jabbing twice a week and splitting them, I'm just wondering if I need to consider the 7.5s still split dosing. So if I do go up to the 7.5 and then split it, this is something I'm toying with. Now, I've still got 3 weeks left of the current 5 milligram pen and a golden dose as well, which I have been using, haven't I? And there's a few people that's been in touch about using the golden doses this week as well, which I don't knock anymore. I mean, if you watch my first video and then suddenly watch this one, you'll be blind, saying he's taken a bit of a turn from that. And yeah, I have, because I'm sort of following the bear really and jumping on the same bandwagon, because I'm seeing a lot of people using it and there's not really a reason why. If you don't like using it, great. I didn't at the start, and people thought I was bonkers for doing it, because it's a lot of money's worth of medication that's being used. Yes, it's beyond usually the 30 days that they suggest, but if you keep it out of the sunlight, in the fridge, as long as it's not frozen, a lot of people are saying it's not going to cause you a problem, and it tends to work. So my lack of suppression, if you like, has been with my new pen. So I know it's not because the efficacy of the drug itself isn't there, although it's all within date as I do. I didn't show the opening of it because it was a brand new pen on Wednesday and I didn't video it, but it is a big consideration. What's your thoughts on me moving up to the 7.5s? I think I might have to. If I was taking 7.5 in one dose though a week, I think it'd make me feel really poorly. I've been doing okay with the side effects. No nausea, certainly no vomiting, but I do still suffer with the constipation. But I'm managing it well. I do need to take something for it. The Movacol sachets tend to work, but I have been eating a lot more fruit. And I've been saying that I'm going to go out and get the syrup of figs and the dates and things, and I just haven't got around to it, how busy it's been this week. But I'm managing it well. It is something that's ongoing, and just most of us tend to get a bit of constipation, don't we? That said, what's your thoughts on me moving up to the 7.5s? Because my order will need to go in in the next week, they will be emailing me from checkup to ask if I want to stay on the 5s or move up. I think I'll be moving up and half dose in a week again. So let's see how that goes. So anyway, it is Saturday. It's still quite early Saturday. I did my Wednesday jab quite early on Wednesday because I knew it was going to be a bit of a hectic day. So I'm going to do my dose Saturday morning, my half dose. So this will be a 2.5 milligram dose for my 72-hour period, my 3.5 days. Let's get set up with the jab. I'm going to just do it in here because it's nice and easy. And it's a bit miserable out there today, so I won't be doing it outside. Let's get set up. So, my Mounjaro, which I did do the other day, but just out of good practice, really. When you first have your box, make sure it's yours. Make sure it's been prescribed to you. It's got my name on. It's come from CloudRx. That's the supplier, but it was ordered through Checkup. The date on here is got plenty of time on that. That's right until next year. 5 milligrams Mounjaro quick pen, and as I say, it has been opened. There's the pen, which we shall inspect shortly. But as always clean the hands. Make sure that everything's as it should be. We have the wipes and the needles. The wipe, as we know by now, is to clean the pen, not necessarily the site that we're going to inject, although you wouldn't be criticised for doing that, although I was early on. But yeah, this is to clean. This is the needle, which we'll keep nice and safe. The seal on here. Now, always inspect the pen. Make sure there's no damage. Make sure that everything in there as it should be, so there's no debris. Any air bubbles, don't worry about that too much because we'll get rid of them when we prime the needle. I've got some jelly off the cleaning solution on my finger there. Let's get rid of that. So that looks all fine to me. We're going to clean the seal on the top of there. That little red bit inside there is a little rubber seal that the needle will seal up to, will screw onto. And there's just a little bit of condensation on there from being in the fridge. It's not been frozen or anything like that. Now, if that's in the fridge and you've got one of these dodgy old fridges that goes a bit over the top and freezes things, you've got to be really careful. Mine's on the door, so there's no chance of it being frozen, although it is an old fridge. That's all good there. We then get a needle, which I've said many times before is absolutely tiny. Nothing like that one I did with the golden dose, which was a little bit big, really, and a lot of people pointed that out. And the next time I do it, I'm going to go back to one of the insulin needles to show you when I do the golden dose, but that won't be for 3 weeks now. But make sure all this is brand new. Never reuse a needle. Be careful when you open that because that's also got the other end of the needle that goes through the seal into here. And as I always say, offer that up nice and straight and square because, again, people have complained that if they go in at a funny angle, it can bend needles and things like that and cause all sorts of problems. This sheath here, this protective thing here, comes off, and we keep that because that's how we dispose of this in our sharps bin, which is starting to get full up now. It's getting there. I mean, I can see in there. Well, it's about halfway full. There's another little protection on the actual metal needle itself. That bit comes off there, exposing that tiny, tiny, tiny little needle here that you can see, and it's starting to prime itself. We're still going to prime it because that's what we do. So to prime the needle, your little dial here, that's how we get the injection out. We turn that right out and then we press it. But before we do any of that, and you'll see it can go in, out, any way you can until it gets to the end of its life, and then it's supposed to stop and not doing anything. Although some people break the pens, force it, and they can get the golden dose out sometimes. That doesn't work on all of them. Anyway, I'm waffling again. From 0, we go 2 clicks to that little mark there. It's slightly longer sort of gauge on there, and that means it's ready to prime. So what we do is we give that a little tap, make sure that if there's any air bubbles in there, They rise to the top by putting it up that way. If you're going to prime it, don't prime it like that because the air bubbles will be sit up here, and certainly don't do it like that because it'll not work. Basic science, isn't it? Sorry to teach you to suck eggs. That 2 clicks there allows us to just give that a little press there, and you'll see just a couple of beads come off, and I'll shake them off there. That's ready to go. The other reason for priming is also to make sure that the needle itself actually works properly. So that is now ready to go. We're just going to dial. If you're using your pen for the first time ever, you're going to turn that all the way round until you've got number 1 in that window just there. That means simply 1 dose, not 1 milligram, 1 centimetre. 1 dose is what that means. But because I'm splitting my doses, I don't want to go that far. And you may see that little pencil mark I've put there? That's 30 clicks. And that's what I'm going to dial it onto. So I'm not going to go through counting all the clicks because it drives people mad apparently when I do it. But I've put my mark there for 30 clicks. So I know now that that's ready to go into my abdomen, which is where I always go. But if you're going to do the arm, ideally you should be getting somebody else to do that, because I actually spoke to a colleague that works in primary care only about a week or so ago, and they've always self-injected into their arms. And this is someone that injects for a living. It's a nurse. And they had a problem with it. They hurt themselves, and they said the needle got a little bit bent. So that, I think, is one of the reasons why people are having bent needles, and they've started going into their tummy because of that, because it frightened them a little bit. So just be careful with it. The other one is the fatty bit on the thigh. I tend to go abdomen. I have tried the thigh in the past and it worked well. I noticed there was a change in the uptake. It seemed like a slower progression over the week for me, but my tummy's always been better for me. Without any more waffling, let's get on to the actual jab then. So here is my tummy. Welcome. You've seen it many times before. And as you can see, I've still got, it's so much better than it was. And thank you, Mounjaro, for what you've done for me. But there's still a lot here. And that's why my BMI is still high. There's still fat here. I've still got a bit of a fat arse as well. Excuse my French. But we're getting there, aren't we? And this is where I will go. Now, on Wednesday, I went on my right side. So I'm going to come left lower, always 2 inches away from the belly button. And just make sure there's no erythema, no redness, no rashes or bruises or anything like that. Some people do get a little bit of a reaction afterwards, as long as you're not getting horrible allergic reactions or anaphylaxis, breathing problems, anything like that, immediate medical attention. But if you do get a little mild discomfort, that can be normal, so don't worry too much about it, but just always make sure that if it's still there the next time you inject, to change to another site. But this is all ready for me to go now. And as someone pointed out in the comments the other day, one of the nurses suggested just pinching, which I always tend to do. It just helps keep your focus where you want to go. And also it can alleviate a little bit of the pinching pain that we get as well. So I'm going to pinch lower left. I'm going to go nice and straight in. My hand is ready in position. My thumb is on the plunger. So it will be straight in here. Press down on the plunger here. Give it about 5 seconds. I'm going to slowly release. Everything's going in as it needs to. And then as straight as I went in, as straight as I come out again, we're going to check the site, make sure there's no bleeding. Tiny little bead of the fluid here. That's normal. We're all good. Think of sharp safety. Let's get back down here to you. We are now going to put that cap back on there. That comes off there. That goes in there. So that's this week done. Now, some people might be saying, don't you fancy going up on the doses now, looking forward to the 7.5? I'm not going to get that too much into that. I'm going to persevere with the 5 milligrams a week and wait until I do, if I do, and I'm leaning more towards the 7.5s, I think. So I always said that I'd stay low as long as I could, and I have. I won't go, I don't, I said this about the fives, no, above 7.5. But to be fair, I don't know what the future holds with me and Mounjaro. The only correspondence I've had with the supplier at checkup is answering questions on the internet and through emails and things like that. Never actually spoke to anybody in person, which I think might be a little bit different now. I'm hearing that there's face-to-face conversations over like chat on the internet and things like that, which it's going to be safer, isn't it? Because it was so easy to get on this plan, wasn't it? You just send a picture. You could be sending a picture of anyone and saying whatever you like, and people do to get things. I've seen patients that come in that shouldn't really be on Mounjaro, and I can understand why people. Don't get me wrong, they are overweight, but they wouldn't meet the criteria. But who's going to knock them for just trying? As long as they're staying safe and they're not being silly with how they're taking it, I'm not going to knock them for that. But that's how the things will go. Let's see how this half of the week goes till Wednesday. I promise I will be back on Wednesday for you the coming week, and then we'll have another weight update next week to get closer to my 205 pound third major target. So that's that. Please keep your comments coming. We'll declare who's won the Supriva competition next week, and we'll start running some more as well, because I think it's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's really good. Get in touch, keep it coming. I'll respond where I can. I usually get round to most of them. Love the progress pictures as well. Thank you to everybody that's taken part in that. Keep them coming as well. But apart from that, have a really good week. Stay safe, everyone. Any problems, I'll do what I can for you. Speak to you Wednesday. Bye-bye for now.